The only certainty we have in life is that one day we will have to leave planet Earth. But until then, there's a long road ahead, filled with peculiar adventures and mysteries to solve. There are some places that not even the most advanced tests and scientific research can unravel, leaving the curious biting their nails trying to solve their enigmas. And that's exactly what you're going to see here today. So go ahead and hit that like button, click below to subscribe, and let's get started. Over in Costa Rica, in a region called the Diquis Delta, enormous stone balls have been found, causing a stir among archaeologists who still can't explain these mysterious sculptures. There are more than 300 rounded stones weighing up to 15 tons, made from a rock called gabbro. These balls, known as the Diqui spheres, were found on farms and, according to reports, had been there for hundreds of years, lying in the bushes, even hidden from the Spanish and colonizers who arrived around the year 1500. These spheres started to appear in the 1930s when a company called the United Fruit Company began clearing the region to plant bananas. Workers stumbled upon these stone balls, and some were even destroyed. They stuffed dynamite into the balls to see if there was something valuable inside, like gold or precious stones. Can you believe it? In the end, what remained was stored in Costa Rica's National Museum, but the origin of the spheres remains a mystery to this day. These stone balls are considered so important that UNESCO declared the site a World Heritage Site in 2014. Tourists pay to see them, but the truth is, those who knew what these stones really meant disappeared along with the entire Diquis people. Among some attempts at explanations, there are scientific theories about mapping planets and stars, and myths indicating they were weapons of gods. There's even a legend about mysterious potions that soften the rock so it could be sculpted, but perhaps we'll never know the truth. In northern United States, right in the small town of Cook, Minnesota, there's a waterfall that nobody can understand. Located in Judge C.R. Magny State Park, it's nicknamed the Devil's Kettle. This funny nickname comes from the fact that the waterfall splits into two streams. One flows directly into the lake, nothing unusual there. But the other, it disappears into a bizarre bottomless hole that nobody knows where it leads. It sounds like a joke, but anything thrown in there is never seen again. They've tried sticks, ping pong balls, and even a GPS device. The GPS lost signal and was never seen again. There are even claims that someone tried throwing a car in there, but there's no record of that happening, probably because it would be an environmental crime. Anyway, it's unlikely anyone actually managed that feat since the location is difficult to access with vehicles. Normally, people would assume that the water flows back into the river below, but the disappearance of these objects seems to indicate there's some sort of interdimensional portal in that hole. The test that drew the most attention was when scientists tried pouring dye into the river, but even then, there was no sign of colored water nearby. However, in 2016, Minnesota's Department of Natural Resources measured the water flow before and after the kettle, and concluded that the water should be the same. This means the water returns to the river, but nobody knows exactly where. They say the current is so strong it crushes anything that falls in, pulverizing everything. However, this conclusion hasn't been fully accepted by the public. In fact, there are rumors that the park administration has been preventing new scientific investigations since the mystery attracts tourists, generating revenue. Those who visit the Devil's Kettle might try to unravel its mystery, but most leave with more questions than answers. Have you ever heard of the Nazca Lines? Imagine walking in the middle of the desert in southern Peru and coming across these immense drawings on the ground. They're huge lines depicting animals and plants, so large that they can only be seen from high above, as if they were made for someone to observe from the sky. The smaller lines are only about 1 foot wide, but the larger ones reach almost 6 feet, with depths of 4 to 6 inches. In total, there are over 600 miles of lines spread across Nazca, covering an area of approximately 19 square miles, and it's estimated that the oldest were drawn over 2,400 years ago. That's before Christ, and the worst part is that to this day, nobody really understands why these lines were made. Some say they were signs to water gods. Others think they had to do with the stars, marking where the sun would rise and set. Some have even speculated that extraterrestrials traced these lines to land their ships. The truth is, scientists have proven that it's possible to make these drawings with very simple tools, no spacecraft needed. But it's intriguing and mysterious why such an ancient people would undertake this mega project that has lasted millennia. To complicate matters further, in 2024, with the advancement of our technology using drones and artificial intelligence, a Japanese team found 303 new figures, including animals and even some violent and shocking scenes. Not all the lines are so visible. Some are even disappearing nowadays due to various factors like climate change, floods, and even invasion by squatters. For those who love mysteries, these lines are mind-boggling. Were they messages to gods or aliens? Or perhaps a millennia-old prank left by a people forgotten by time? The only certainty is that they weren't drawn by nature. Mount Vytara, located in Karelia, Russia, is a place full of mysteries that both intrigue and even frighten those who hear its stories. First, there are the bizarre-looking trees, with twisted trunks and branches, as if nature itself had violently pulled them. Locals swear that the pines there don't grow normally, and it seems the mountain is enveloped by a heavy atmosphere that makes your hair stand on end. Although Vytara is the highest point in the region, reaching 1,368 feet, what really grabs attention are the stacked rocks that seem to form altars in a way nobody understands. To make matters worse, according to locals, there are hardly any animals there. Even the mountain lakes lack life, with no fish spotted. Some say the soil and water might have something strange, but they don't know what. The stones, which look like they were placed by people, attract curious folks and even some religious individuals who believe ancient peoples performed rituals there. A local historian even suggested that the rocks were indeed organized by some regional group, but this hasn't been proven. In other words, not even scientists can confirm whether these formations are natural or man-made. The Russian government declared the mountain a natural heritage site, protecting the entire area, which spans about 3,700 acres. Even so, archaeologists, biologists, and other researchers still can't provide a satisfactory explanation for so many strange things in one place. Deep beneath the small town of Nazca in Mexico, a mining hole hides one of the most incredible discoveries the world has ever seen. The place is known as the Cave of Crystals, and it looks like something straight out of a science fiction movie. Miners there in the year 2000 accidentally discovered the cave full of giant crystals. The largest is over 36 feet long. To give you an idea, that's almost the size of a city bus. Nobody really knows how these crystals grew so large, not even geologists and other scientists who go there seeking answers. However, this cave is as extremely dangerous as it is fascinating. The heat reaches nearly 140 degrees Fahrenheit, and the humidity is so high it's hard to breathe, and you shouldn't even try to breathe in there, since the cave is filled with dangerous toxic gases. Despite these mortal dangers of nature, they don't justify the size of the crystals. Scientists tried measuring the mineral content in the water, which could help the crystals grow, but even though it's highly mineralized with lethal chemical elements, it wasn't enough to explain the colossal crystals, especially because they later discovered that the same water passes through other caves where the crystals, although also large, don't come close to these giants in the famous cave. As if all these mysteries weren't enough, they also found bacteria in this cave never seen before in human history. They're trapped inside the crystals, preserved for who knows how many millions of years. Researchers got so excited they even tried to wake up these encapsulated microbes but haven't succeeded yet. Now, the cave is filled with water again, and nobody can enter anymore. Only if the mining company there decides to open another entrance will scientists be able to go back in to try to understand this place that, in the end, remains one of our planet's greatest mysteries. In the Namib Desert, something strange catches the eye. Giant circles of barren land surrounded by low grass. These fairy circles, as people call them, range from 10 to 65 feet in diameter and stretch over more than 600 miles. An old myth says these circles are footprints left by the gods who stepped on the hot earth and formed these marks. But scientists are still scratching their heads trying to understand how these circles actually appeared. Some scholars say termites create them, digging and clearing vegetation to store rainwater underground. Others believe the grass itself might be the culprit, competing for the scarce water available there. And there are those who think both sides might be right. Even so, nobody understands why the circles are so neatly arranged, with regular spacing. In Namibia, the Himba people who live in the region believe the mysterious circles are the work of Mukuru, an ancestral spirit. Others say it's the trail of a dragon hidden underground, whose poisonous breath kills the surrounding plants. Scientists have dug into the soil, tried to understand the roots, and even measured the humidity to solve this puzzle, but the answer remains elusive. It's a fascinating enigma that must have some justification yet to be found. Can you imagine a place where people would pay you a hefty sum just to go there and have children? Well, it's not that simple, but such a bizarre place does exist. I'm talking about Japan, which was once one of the most populated and dynamic countries in the world, but is now in a complicated situation. The population is aging rapidly, and new families are hardly having children. In short, the country has more elderly people than young ones. More people are dying than being born, and that's a big problem. If it continues like this, there won't be any Japanese left to tell the story. And this problem isn't just there. Some European countries like Italy and Portugal are also paying foreigners to move to small towns, buy old houses, and even start families. But the situation in Japan is much more serious, so the government is taking desperate measures for a desperate problem. In Hokkaido, for example, an island in northern Japan full of mountains and snow, the government is paying no less than 1 million yen to those willing to go there and build a family. It seems the people of Hokkaido are almost begging for more residents. They need young people, new families, children running in the streets, and all that. That amount, converted to dollars, is about $7,000 nowadays. But wait, there's more money. That amount is actually just for those who want to move there. People willing to have a child receive even more. If you already work from home nowadays, remotely via computer, it's an excellent opportunity. You don't even need to be employed in the region to receive the benefits. To be eligible, you just have to not be from Hokkaido. Not that it's hard to find a job in Japan, right? They're lacking a lot of labor due to the aging population and all that. It's really bizarre to think they're literally paying people to go there and have children. And even with so many people in the world needing money, the small population there remains alarmed, wondering what will become of their lineage. This may be one of humanity's greatest mysteries. Not even the brightest scientists have been able to save Hokkaido so far. The Plain of Jars in Laos is a place with literally thousands of enormous stone jars, up to 10 feet tall, scattered over a vast area. The problem is that, well, nobody really knows how or why they're there, and the worst part is that they're extremely ancient, dating from 1240 to 660 before Christ. Some scientists speculate that the jars were used in burial rituals, but there are still many gaps in this story. Located on the Xiangquang Plateau, the Plain of Jars has over 90 different sites, each with varying quantities of jars, some with up to 400 jars together. Local legends say these artifacts were used by a giant king who, after winning a battle, made the jars to ferment, drink, and celebrate victory. Other more down-to-earth stories suggest that one of the oldest sites, a cave, was actually a gigantic furnace where the jars were made from a mixture of clay, sand, sugar, and animal products. In other words, the jars weren't carved from larger stones but actually molded in a way similar to traditional ceramic jars. One of the biggest problems for scientists to continue investigating the plain is the estimated 80 million bombs scattered throughout the region. In the 1960s, the United States Air Force bombed the area during the Secret War, dropping almost 300 million cluster bombs. A good portion of them remains there to this day, unexploded, making research and excavations extremely dangerous. However, various entities are trying to disarm these bombs and make the site safe again. But it's a delicate job that has been ongoing for decades, and may take many more. In 2019, the Plain of Jars was protected by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, which helped raise awareness for the cause. However, so far, no other significant discoveries contributing to the clarification of these jar mysteries have been made. Perhaps, even after the last bomb is defused, we still won't fully know the secrets behind these giant artifacts, since those who created them disappeared millennia ago. One of the most fascinating and mysterious places on planet Earth is inside Chestnut Ridge Park in New York, United States, more precisely, behind a waterfall. This fire, called the Eternal Flame, can be seen practically burning all the time, even in the region's harsh winter when the waterfall freezes over. Although it can be extinguished, just a spark is enough for the eternal flame to return since gas continues to emanate from this small cave. And here's where scientists can't explain. Of course, they know the fire stays lit because gas is coming from the ground, but there's much debate about how this gas is produced exactly there, as these same conditions haven't been observed anywhere else in the world. Have you heard of the Gate of Hell, for example? Located on the other side of the globe in Darvaza, Turkmenistan, this crater that the Russians opened in the 1970s can be explained scientifically. Someone had the bright idea to set it on fire to consume the gas, but the crater keeps burning to this day. The problem with New York's Eternal Flame is that the shale gas, which comes from sedimentary rock called shale, is too cold to produce the gas. In 2013, a study conducted by an American university in conjunction with Italian geophysicists concluded that there's some kind of catalyst about 1,300 feet below the waterfall that makes the shale have ethane and propane concentrations 35% higher than the rest of the world, where methane concentration is usually much higher. Moreover, this shale is much younger and shallower than others. However, they haven't been able to find this supposed catalyst or even prove it actually exists. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.